In today's troubled times, have we ever needed more effective mentors or more qualified mentees than right now, this very minute, with all of the challenges that we're facing today? Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and inspire. Today our subject is going to be the importance of mentors, mentees, and kind of the different aspects that both parties should be looking for to become effective, to move the game forward. All right, now I'm going to start off by talking a little bit about Jack Welch's. Now, Jack Welch was the CEO of GE for a long time when they were in their heyday. He had 6 rules for successful leadership. 1, control your destiny or somebody else will. If you don't have something that you're going for, then someone else is using you to get what they want. So make sure that you control your own destiny. Secondly, face reality as it is, not as it was, or as you wish that it were. You've got to be realistic in seeing the issues that are on the table and not look at them with rose-colored glasses, because that doesn't help or make it worse than it is either. You've got to be realistic. 3, be candid with everybody. If you're going to be a leader and you're out there and you're making this sound better or this sound worse or whatever, you've got to be on target. People have to understand how you're making decisions, and the only way you can do that is with truthful candor. Don't manage, do lead. One of the things that leaders often do is they tend to micromanage too much. And one of the things that you want to do is make sure that people understand the objective, make sure that people are on board with it, and when they have that same passion to achieve that same goal, they'll figure out how to get it done in the most cases. It's okay to ask them, what's your game plan, what do you want to do? But by the same token, people work harder when they're working on their own game plan than they do on one that is thrust upon them that they have to do. Sometimes that's appropriate. Most of the time, if the people you're working with are people with whom you trust and with whom you want to lock arms, then give them the opportunity to formulate their own game plan to reach the end result. Number 5, change before you have to. You have to be a visionary. You have to see potential issues before they come up. Now, they can be technical, they can be personnel based, they can be all sorts of different aspects of life. There can be a hurricane that can change things. So one of the things you want to do is you want to change before you have to. You want to be prepared, and you want to be moving forward, and you need to be a visionary in order to foresee circumstances before they arrive. And number 6, if you don't have a competitive advantage, don't compete. Don't change things just for the sake of changing things. Make sure that when you see something where you're going to be able to move forward, that you absolutely do move forward. But if by doing so, it's not going to change anything, or by doing that, it's just going to irritate the situation worse, you don't have a competitive advantage. So you want to put yourself in a position where people can see what you're doing is helping. And if they can't see that, it's not going to work. We cannot become what we need to be by remaining what we are. People tend to change just enough to get away from their problem, but not enough to solve the problem. Most people want to change their circumstances to improve their lives instead of changing themselves to improve their circumstances. Most people do the same thing, excuse me, the same way and expect different results. When you want something that you've never had, you've got to do something that you haven't done. And most people are willing to change not because they see the light, but when they start to feel the heat. Most people are unwilling to pay the immediate price of change, therefore they don't change, and they ultimately pay the big price at the end. Most people see change as a hurtful thing that must be done instead of a helpful thing that should be done. So when you're in the position of being a mentor-mentee, never let the situation mean more than the relationship. You remove most of the roadblocks to success when you know the difference between motion and direction. People running in place aren't really getting any place, but when they have a direction, then progress starts to be made. Managers have as their goal to do things right. Leaders have as their goal to do the right things. Now, in our conversation about mentors, I've employed the help of one of the people that I admire, a tremendously great author. He's written about 8 million books, and they're all outstanding. Every book I've read that he's written has been fabulous. John C. Maxwell. So I want to give a shout out to John C. Maxwell and invite you to start looking. He's on YouTube, but more importantly, his books are just tremendous. So here are some of the thoughts of John Maxwell. Who you learn from as your mentor is as important as what you learn. Your mentor should be bigger than you are. And one mentor is not enough. Nobody's that good. If you're mentoring people, if you're the mentor, let them set the agenda. Let them ask the questions based on their experiences. And as a mentor, it's imperative to be a good listener. As my main mentor, Bob Anderson, said to me, always listen and use what people say against them, for them. Listen to what they're saying and make sure that they're saying something that's not shallow, that's what they really want. Okay, is what you really want, but you're not going to do this, and to get it, use what they say against them, for them. As a mentee, one of the things you want to have when you get that special time with your mentor is make sure you have a tape recorder with you so that you can review and reflect on the conversation that you have with your respected mentor. It allows you to ask questions and review the substance, and when the next time you come back you can say, I'm unclear on this, or can I have a little more detail on that? As a mentor, you want to ask great questions because answers expand people, but questions deepen people. When you ask somebody the right question, they will think on it all day and cause them to expand their horizons a little bit. One of the other things that you want to do as a mentor is use failure as a teaching tool, not just success stories. One of the things that I see on the YouTube platform all the time is people saying, I did this and I did this and I did this and I did this. And when you do that, what you're saying to the mentee is, well, I'm very smart. This is the way I did it. This is how I got from here to here. But you're leaving the main thing out. The main thing is that to get from here to here is not a straight line. There's potholes, there's roadblocks, there's obstacles that must be overcome. So as a mentor, it's critical that you point out failures as well as successes, and people learn from failures as well. And it shows that failures happen to everybody. Now, your mentee has got to be hungry. As a mentor, and you're choosing the people that you want to give your valuable time, your valuable asset to, it's imperative that these be hungry people. If you want to do what I do, then you have to you have to do what I did. The starting point of great achievement is desire. That's a quote from Napoleon Hill. What we accomplish in life is not based on what we want, but on how much we want it. So that mentee has got to be hungry. Kipling said, and I quote, "If you don't get what you want, it's a sign either that you do not seriously want it or that you tried to bargain over the price." Unquote. You see, we judge ourselves by our intentions. Others judge us by our performance. Now, let's talk about the capacities of your mentee, because once again, I'm not just talking to the mentees here, I'm talking, and we're all mentors. I mean, you all have children, all right, so we're all mentoring, but as a mentor, these are some of the questions you should be asking yourself. How much mind strength does my mentee have? On an emotional basis, how much stress can they handle? As far as their energy is concerned, do they wear out after only a few hours? Do they take naps, mental naps during the day? Relational question, what kind of capacity do they have to relate to people? Leadership-wise, do they have the ability to be influencers? Creativity, do they have the ability to take what they have and make it better? Teamwork, do they have the capacity and willingness to work with others? Equipping, do they have the capacity to develop and equip other people? These are questions that you as a mentor must ask yourself about your mentee. Also, under the heading of expectations, you must say, if I were to mentor you, I want to share with you my expectations of this relationship. If you have expectations on the front end, it reduces disappointment on the back end. And it defines the clarity of the purpose that you're trying to achieve. Understand that a mentor-mentee relationship is something that feels good to both parties. But there has to be some sort of understanding of the ground rules, and there has to be a hunger on both sides. As the mentor, you want to see your mentee get the job done, and as a mentee, you have a hunger to learn and are willing to be flexible from the things that you did, from the mold that you've achieved over the years, and understand that if you want to do things better, that you're going to have to make some changes. Let's also talk about construction versus deduction. Mentoring does not just mean adding to the mentee. It also means subtracting destructive elements. The value of a mentor is not always in instruction, but in reflection. What we do as mentors is to help people self-discover what is already in them. We help people to arrive rather than just teach them. The importance of finding a mentor for yourself is paramount. The importance of finding a mentee for yourself as a mentor is paramount. We must pass along these things that we learn in life to others so that they can advance the cause of mankind and not be rigidly tied into same old, same old, same old. People have to expand their minds. They have to expand their perspectives, especially in times like today, where right now, this minute, we're focused on the COVID-19 and also on the demonstrating for the tragedy of George Floyd with the knee on his neck. I mean, these are troubled times, and at the same time that people are demonstrating and they're in close quarters, you have COVID-19 going on at the same time. people need to think. People, we've got to avoid that spike that's coming from the COVID-19. I pray that my thinking on this is wrong. I fear that it's correct. So anyway, if you're potential to be a mentor, focus on teaching your mentees the correct method. And if you're a mentee, focus on asking good questions and finding not just one, but several people that can teach you different aspects so that you can move from here to here. And because we will never end a meeting on a philosophical note, let's all get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.